Noah Basketball is our new presenting sponsor of our Coaching You podcast. Noah Basketball is a shot tracking and data company that has helped change how coaches and players perfect the game's most important skill, shooting. Noah is a data service provider that uses machine learning and the latest computer vision technology to provide real-time data and feedback to improve shooting accuracy and consistency for professional and amateur basketball players. Noah has now analyzed over 570 million shots from countless high school, hundreds of college teams, and 28 NBA franchises. The technology is simply amazing. Once the system has been installed, players will be able to get immediate feedback on their shooting arc, left and right positioning, depth, makes or misses, and makes the data available to players and coaches on your mobile device. For more information about how Noah can help your team, visit noahbasketball.com. Welcome to another Coaching You podcast with the coach, Brendan Sir, presented by Noah Basketball. We wanted to share with you some of the sounds of our Coaching You live clinic from Vegas this July. The videos are all out. You can go to coachingyoulive.com/2024 to subscribe to our Coaching You Plus app and get these incredible videos where you get to be Billy Donovan, Ettore Messina, Lindsey Harding, the new assistant for the Lakers. So many great coaches. I think you're going to really enjoy it. But we wanted to have you listen to some excerpts right now from the back of Will Harding's talk. You know, we're going to hear when we opened it up for Q&A, how he answered some of the questions of trying to help our attendees progress in the game. After a quick message from our partners, we'll be right back. We're thrilled to have our longtime partners and friends at Dr. Dish Basketball on board as sponsors of the Coaching You podcast. Dr. Dish machines are undoubtedly the most user-friendly and advanced machines in the world of basketball today. Dr. Dish has completely revolutionized and reimagined the shooting machine to provide the best solution on the market. Join top programs around the world like Duke, North Carolina, Florida, and countless others and upgrade your shooting machine to Dr. Dish. Dr. Dish machines are the best way to increase purposeful reps in your program to get players better, faster, while tracking progress along the way. Dr. Dish provides so much more than just your standard shooting machines with custom training, pro trainers, and coaches on demand, real-time and detailed analytics, and top-of-the-line drills and workouts. If you're looking to take your program to the next level, look no further than Dr. Dish for the best basketball training machine in the world. If you have an old machine that's just collecting dust in your gym, did you know that you can trade that in to Dr. Dish for up to $1,500 off and get a new dish? Make sure to give our friends at Dr. Dish a follow at Dr. Dish B-Ball on Twitter and Instagram for great daily drills, workouts, tips, and inspiration. Or contact us at drdishbasketball.com. Don't forget to mention Coaching You or our podcast for $300 off your purchase. Coaches, are you looking to take your game preparation to the next level? Then FastModel Sports is the perfect coaching software for you. With FastDraw, build an organized library of plays and drills and create professional playbooks to share with your players and staff. You can also download over 9,500 free plays and drills from our Playbank directly to your FastDraw account. Looking for a better way to build your scouting reports and want to include video? With FastScout, build custom scouting report templates to prepare your team best for each individual opponent. Plus, did you know with the latest updates from FastModel Sports, you can now include video with your FastScout reports and share with your coaches and staff all within the FastScout mobile app. The combination of Fast Draw and Fast Scout is by far the best way for you and your coaches to create winning game strategies and effectively communicate them to your team. Over 10,000 high school and youth coaches trust FastModel sports products to help their teams reach their goals. To order, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any Fast Draw or Fast Scout products. Remember, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any Fast Draw and Fast Scout products.
He's asking about the culture with the young guys, the team dynamic. It's hard because a few things are true. Most importantly, they're not all going to make it. And I say that out loud. You're not all going to make it. It's the way it is. And so we try to, our big team program mantra is show love. This didn't need to turn into a TED talk, but like the world's negative, social media is negative, everybody hates you, you suck, you're awful. We kind of take a negative spin on everything, and so we've tried to create an environment where they do show each other a little bit of love, talk about the things that they do well. We'll do stuff in the team setting of like, hey, why don't you tell me like the best thing that Colin does on the court. It's also a good way for guys to reframe what their role is. They hear what their teammates think of them. But then we're very open about the fact that they're supposed to be competing with each other, especially in practice. And, you know, it's a respect thing. We haven't had too many fights, but it's hard with a lot of young guys because I think hierarchy helps at times. Knowing who to look to, knowing who the leader is. You don't need a team full of leaders. We need a couple, and then we need other people to kind of fall in. But right now, we're just trying to really develop the concept of working. You know, we're in this load management, do less world, but it's hard because you don't get better that way. Like I laugh, you guys have all heard stories about Kobe and Michael Jordan and the Team USA story where Carmelo and them are coming back from the club and Kobe's leaving the gym at 6 a.m. with ice on his knees and whatever. And my comment to like load management is like, so we'll just never have another Kobe? Like working out 3 times a day, that's like illegal now. What? Doesn't matter how old you are. So we try to like buck that a little bit. Our performance group is great. They understand that the guys have to work to get better. But yeah, that's the part that I think is my job, is that culture piece. The team's a living, breathing thing. That's how I look at it. On my board, I have written, do what AI can't. Like, you want to know the sub pattern, our best lineup? I don't know it off the top of my head, but in 2 clicks, the analytics guys do. They'll tell you when you should sub, what you should do. I mean, everybody's got these charts of there's 8 seconds left and you're down 3. What are you supposed to do? Like, it's crazy. They figured out a way to spit all this info out, and so I'm not wasting my time thinking about that part. I have to learn how to digest that information, filter it, give what I want to the team. But my job is to handle the personal part, this part of the team, how they all interact. But it's hard. What's up? Yeah, he said you don't have a lot of time in the season to practice. We've just sort of reframed what a practice is. We'll have practice sometimes it's 30 minutes. I'll tell the team we're going to do 2 things live. We have to work on this. And there's some days I will put 30 minutes on the clock and I will say, you guys can walk off the court when the buzzer goes off. Just in the middle of me talking, just leave. I just need 30 minutes. Because I think when we all think, oh, we're going to have a practice, we all think hour and a half. And so we've just had to chop it down and go, like, if we can do 2 things live tomorrow, and maybe a couple of the vets that played 36 minutes and are banged up, it's like you're going to watch. We do classroom days. We've abandoned the optional day. It's my least favorite thing in the NBA. Optional. Just come when you want. We'll just wait all day. It's horrendous. So we'll just do classroom day. Put 40 minutes on the clock. You do 20 minutes in the offensive classroom, 20 minutes in the defensive classroom. We've got TVs that we roll out by the court. You go down, you watch 6-8 clips, you walk through a concept, go the other end. And that's a practice for us. Like, we've just had to sort of reframe what a practice actually is so that we feel like we can still get some work in. Because if it was a practice can only be 90 minutes, yeah, you're right. We would very rarely practice. So.
Were there some specific things you did to move from turnovers to fewer turnovers? Kind of.
He asked what are some things we did to work on eliminating turnovers. We do a lot of odd-numbered games. I grew up playing basketball, and my second sport was soccer. And I remember in soccer, anybody here play soccer? Okay, so just me and a couple of us. In soccer practice, you do a lot of like 7v5. 5 guys in the middle, 7 people on the outside, and the ball moves because you have a numbers advantage. And so we'll do pick and roll games 5-on-4. It teaches the defense how to scramble, how to get caught in between and make choices. He can shoot, he can't. I'm stunting at you, I'm going back. And then on offense, I just found that you want the ball to move, make it a numbers advantage because you look crazy playing ones when we have one more person. You just do. But it also is just, you're starting to see, if we came down the court and just ran a drag, if we do the first part right and that guy gets clipped, it's 5-on-4. I'm turning the corner, roller, tag guy, corners are filled, guy up here, there's 4 defenders in front of me. It's the big and the 3 help defenders. My guy is dead. And so now it's where does the ball have to go? And so we play a lot of games that could be 4-on-3, 3-on-2. And I've found that it's productive because it's enough of a game that the players are engaged, and it's structured enough that the coaches like it. And then to make the analytics people happy, we do it to a score. We'll say a dunk is worth 5, a corner 3 is worth 4, and above the break 3 is worth 3, everything else is worth 1. And you just try to incentivize it that way. And we'll go, let's see how many possessions it takes you to get to 21 points. And so I figured out a way to make everybody happy. I don't know, we're not getting patted on the back for that, but it's like, how can you set up the structure where you're getting all those different elements? But the uneven number games, I think, are very helpful. He asked, what did I learn working in the Spurs organization? It's about the people. Like, it's a people business. A team is a people thing. Pop has his public persona, what people think of him. But, like, the love and the care that he puts in with the players, with the staff, allows him to coach them hard. I've tried to do a lot of that. As far as like being ready, I don't think anybody's ready. You think maybe you're ready to try, but like it's a lot, man. Yeah, it's a lot, especially early, because all of a sudden you go from being an assistant where like no one really cares what you think about anything to all of a sudden overnight everyone cares what you think about everything. Like they're asking me what color to paint the training room. I'm like, surely there's someone more qualified than me to make that decision. But it's like, it's everything. And then you're visible and you got to handle the media, and You got to deal with all the players, and we had guys in our team that were older than me. So I don't really think anybody's ready, but I think going back to the very beginning of what I said, like, I really just take the approach like I'm not a finished product. And I will say to the team, like, I am not perfect either. Like, we're growing together. There's times in film I'll be like, yeah, this was a dumb timeout. Or this play I drew was not, it was misguided. Here's why. So, yeah, like, I think that part is what kind of keeps me going. Because I'm still, like, I'm 2 years in, I still feel like really I have crazy imposter syndrome. I'll just say that. What's up, bro? He asked, were the turnovers more forced or unforced? We had a lot that were on the ball. Ball handling, dribbling into a crowd. Those are frustrating, but those I try to, like, unless it's dribbling into two people, I just try to, like, yeah, that's just basketball. Nothing used to make me more upset than, like, I'd dribble off my foot and the coach would be like, Will! Like, yeah, bro, I know, man. Like, I wasn't trying to dribble off my foot. But the decision-making ones, the reads, the 5-on-4 stuff, hey, the tag guy was in, the corner's wide open. Those are the ones to try to coach. The, like, physical on-the-ball turnovers, I try to give the guys a little bit of grace because everything makes sense when the film's paused. It's happening fast, man. And so I try to let those go. Anybody else? Yep. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, he asked about the staffs I got to work with and how that helped me prepare. I think there's so much that we all take from each other. Like, we're all, you guys are, that's what this is, right? We all bounce things off each other. I am no smarter than any person that's sitting in here. Like, we could have a conversation about a piece of offense or a side of the bounds, whatever, and you would say something, and I'd be like, oh, shit, that's pretty good. I need to write that down. Like, that's how it is. That's how I treated it. But I think the best staffs that I've been around are not sensitive. They're not territorial. I have been in some coaches' meetings where, like, we have had knockdown dragouts. I'm talking yelling. That's the dumbest I've ever heard in my life. We are not doing that. No. And it goes on and on and on. Pop would make a decision at the end. Okay, this is what we're going to do. The people that were vehemently against it would walk out and they would sell it to the team like it was their idea. Nobody was sitting on the side going like, man, I told them shit wasn't going to work. Like we had a playoff series against the Lakers one time that was going to put Tim in a really bad spot against Dwight Howard. A really bad spot. But over the course of the game, we were like, we're going to win if we do this. We're doing the explanation of the game plan, and Tim is looking at all the assistants like, this is what y'all are about to do to me for this series? Like, what are you talking about? And every person, just even the 4 people that were like, we can't do that, looked at him and said, yep, and we're going to win. Suck it up. And like those staffs, when it's not sensitive, it's not territorial, it's not, I coach the defense, you can't say anything about the defense. Like, what? What are we talking about? And I think there's a lot of like tiptoeing. And so we just try to like, those staffs that were really good, Pop was a master at like, he knew all of our hot buttons. He'd bait us all the time and get us wound up and yelling at each other. But yeah, there was a lack of sensitivity, which I think is hard because I think now we're all kind of concerned with like who gets the credit. That was my idea. Oh yeah, I told him that was going to work. Like all that stuff, it's like, it runs out quick. And the players can sense all of that. Any player, they are the most intuitive. People come at them all day with crap. They know how to weed out what's going on, but they're also really good at reading people, and like they can sense when the staff is not on the same page. And so Pop was really good at fostering that environment of like, we're going to go at it in here. When we go out there, it's all one thing. Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, he asked, what do I look for when I'm trying to like hire somebody, build the staff? How do I say this? Number one, a staff is a mixture. I don't want everybody to be alike. I hate culture fit. It should be culture add. Culture fit is how you end up with a fraternity where everybody dresses the same, looks the same. That shit's awful. I want culture add. You're a wild card, you're a hothead, you're whatever. Like, man, our staff's like, we got a bunch of nice guys, some funny guys, some whatever. We need that one coach who's an asshole. Like, every staff needs to have a little bit of different things. So the first part is I look at my staff, what we have, and I start to think about like, man, what do we need? The second part is like, it's a people thing. Like, I mean what I said. Like, I truly do not think that I'm smarter than anybody when it comes to basketball. There are people in this room that have watched 10x the amount of film that I have. And so I really just like want to know, like, is this somebody I want to go through it with? The morbid part is I work in a profession where the way it looks, I'll probably get fired in like 2 weeks. Like, everybody gets fired. They do. Like, guys sign these massive contracts, and you're like, whoa, 1 year in, boom, gone. And so I try to look at it like, who am I willing to go out with? Like, when it's all said and done, you just go, hey, cheers, fellas. Like, we did it the way we wanted to. We did it how we believed. We did it with the people we wanted to do it with, and it didn't work out. I've interviewed a ton of coaches. I've never asked them one X and O question, ever. I have never sat in a room and said, draw a play for me, or let me see an edit you made, or I don't care. Because honestly, I don't really think that anybody, myself included, is that good. Like, we're not heart surgeons. You know, like, he's a jerk, but man, he's saved 3 lives nobody else can. Like, we're all coaching basketball. Like, I want people in the room that, like, I want to be around, that I want our players to be around. So it's a personal thing. But I'm always thinking about the mix of the staff. Like, last year we had to make some additions. We have a great staff. They're really smart, but we had a lot of guys that have, like, really outgoing, humorous personalities, and I needed a couple guys that were a little more serious to balance it out. So yeah, there's not like one thing I'm looking for. Anything else? I know y'all can smell that pizza. What's up? Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he said I mentioned on a podcast that when I got the job, I hired a mental performance coach. I actually was working with the mental performance coach when I was an assistant in Boston. It's been a massive help to me. The in the game, the job part, the life part, it's been something that I've had to like really work on. I think obviously the mental health space is like really becoming way more visible and talked about and normalized. But yeah, I felt like I wanted and needed somebody that could help me with processing kind of the job and where I'm at, all the different things coming at me. It's a combination. It's not just like therapy. it's mental skills. It's you go to the weight room to work on your body. This is like something to work on your mind. It's helped me a ton. And I liked the person so much that I hired them for our whole staff in Utah. So we'll do group stuff. He does individual stuff. But I think that was like a big thing for me, because I felt like I was getting caught in like the rat race of chasing what the job was going to do for me. And I needed to like kind of reestablish what actually made me happy. Got deep in here. Anybody else? What's up, man?
What advice would you give to a college kid who's looking to get into NBA coaching someday?
Into the NBA? What advice would I give to a college kid trying to get into the NBA? Work in basketball now. Do whatever you can. I'll be the manager. I'll try to be a GA somewhere. I'll be a volunteer for the team. But you got to get in. It's the basketball world of coaches is like this one big thing. And there's the high school coaches, and then it's like the college coaches, and then it's the D1 college coaches, and then it's the NBA. It all sort of like filters, but I mean, people come from everywhere. And it's all word of mouth. It's all relationships that coaches have with other coaches. Like, hey, this kid works for me. Like, he's really good. So I would say the first thing is like get yourself in the mix. If you have an opportunity to meet a few people and develop some relationships, do that. And then I would just keep in mind like your coaching life is long. Playing life is short. Coaching life's long. I had dinner with Pop last night, 75. I could double my age and not be 75. But your playing life, that's when people you're desperate, right? You only can play for so long. Don't get anxious. Don't get antsy. I want the NBA. Cool. You can get there. But you want to do it the right way. You want to I want to be in a place with good people that I believe in, that give me an opportunity where I feel like I'm growing and learning. And that sounds corny. That sounds crazy coming from me. But that's the truth. Because when I started, I was an intern. And then I was an intern again. And then I was in the video room for 6 years. The getting here, the last part, that all happened fast. The curve wasn't like this for me. It was like this, and then it just kind of took off for a lot of reasons. Good fortune, timing, luck. I'm in Boston. My email, the team was great. There's a lot of things that happen. But you just want to be I want to be with good people that I feel like this is a good spot for me. Don't chase the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? And don't get discouraged that you're oh man, I'm 26 and I'm not in the NBA. That guy's in the NBA. He's that is just unproductive. Coaching life's long. Anybody else? Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Will Harding. Unbelievable content. And the thing we love about Will, he's going to be a star in this business. Still, him and Joe Mazzulla, the two youngest coaches in basketball. But I think the thing you love about Will is he's so self-aware. He really, really knows who he is. But the thing I loved is the tips he gave you about coaches with their future, which is always what people want. Here's a young guy telling about his journey and his future. One of our other favorites, someone that I've known since he was a college student, is Mike Weinar, the assistant coach of the Indiana Pacers. Met Mike when he was Billy Donovan as a manager at the University of Florida. Mike talks about his journey, how he has progressed, how he got into the business. And I'm telling you, some of the things he talks about philosophy and things that are beyond his years. And I'm so proud of him and what he's become. I think you're going to enjoy listening to Mike Weinar, assistant coach, Indiana Pacers.
Again, my name is Mike Weinar. I'm forever grateful to be here and humbled to be in a position I can come talk to some coaches. I'm going to maybe do it a little different. I'm going to walk around a little bit. I'm going to be a little more, I'm just going to be here moving around and kind of doing it. Let's see, we're here. My beginning. I was a better baseball player. Kyle Gilreath, can you hear that? Guy I worked with in college is right out there. I was a better baseball player than a basketball player. I decided, I was a senior in high school, I said, you know what, this baseball thing's not going to go anywhere. What can I do and what do I want to do? Strategically, I was always very good at figuring out the X's and O's. Just wasn't a great shooter, so obviously didn't go very far with that. So I decided I wanted to work in basketball, and I wanted to put my best foot forward there. So luckily I had the opportunity to know a friend who knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody, right? It's all about that type of connection that could introduce me to Donnie Jones and Billy Donovan, coaches at the University of Florida. Assistant coach Donnie Jones, who's now head coach of Stetson Hatters, and obviously Billy Donovan, head coach. He'll be here tomorrow. Introduced me, and I walked into Coach Donovan's office. I said, Coach, I'll do whatever you want. You name it. So I started as a 17-year-old, run the clock, get the lunches, do the laundry, whatever it took to get an imprint on that organization and on that program. And obviously we had a great deal of success. I was there in college for 6, but worked for Coach Donovan for 5 years, and had 2 national championships and 2 degrees, and walked out of there a very happy young man. So the story Coach Sir wanted me to tell is probably the next launching pad for me. And again, it's just I got in the right place at the right time in front of the right person. So that story goes as follows. Going into the fall of 2007, Coach Rick Carlisle had got let go the previous summer by the Pacers. And in the NBA, and I'm sure in everybody else's world, when you get let go, what do you do, Coach? Try to find a job first. But what do you do, Coach? Go do something else, right? Go find your friends. Go learn from somebody else, like you guys are learning today. Shriner Basketball, how you doing? I'm Mike. Good to see you, brother. You go learn from somebody else. So that's what Coach Carlisle did. He called Coach Donovan and said, hey, can I come watch your practice? Can I watch your training camp? In fall, I'm going to try to make sure I go walk over this way for you guys. He said, can I do that? And Coach Donovan obviously said yes. And Coach Donovan called me in his office and said, can you go pick up Coach Carlisle at the airport and take him to dinner and, kind of hang out with him and make sure he's got squared away? I said, absolutely. I'll take your car and let's go. So I grabbed the car and got to the airport. Right before I got to the airport, I said, hey, I don't know a lot about this guy. So I had an opportunity to do some Googling, and obviously I knew his career as a coach, but that was about it. And I said, what's to make this guy tick? I got to have something to talk about. Those of you that don't know, from Orlando, Florida to Gainesville, Florida is about a 90-minute drive, and I was nervous as hell to try to figure out what I was going to talk about. So I Googled and said, hey, this guy likes Mountain Dew. So I picked up a Mountain Dew, got him at the airport, put it in the car. Coach gets in the car and says, hey, what's going on here? So I just, got you Mountain Dew. He kind of just looked at me, and the way Coach Carlisle still looks at me 16 years later and said, kind of just went about his business. So I was like, all right, did I mess that up? But I guess it went okay. He kept in contact with me throughout the year. I, told him about our team at Florida and tried to help him as best I could as a lowly graduate manager. And here comes the next spring, and I'm graduating. Coach Larry Shiat, who Coach Sir knows very well, is a dear friend, is trying to help me get some college jobs, and I'm trying to find a landing spot. And it comes across, I have a great week, I get my master's, I do the next thing, and it comes across the ticker that Coach Carlisle is going to get the Mavericks job. And that evening, I went to bed, I said a couple prayers, and I said, you know what, in the morning, I'm going to text him. So at 8 o'clock that Monday morning, I believe it was May 25th, you can check the calendar, I forget the exact date, but it was a Monday morning, I texted Coach Carlisle at exactly 8 o'clock. I literally waited until I saw 8 just to make sure I knew I was at 8 o'clock. Texted him at 8 o'clock and said, Coach, congratulations. I heard you're going to get the Mavericks job. I'd be on the first flight to Dallas if you had anything. At 8:01, in typical Rick Carlisle fashion, he says, call me. Okay, so at 8:02, I call him, and I'm on the phone with him, and things progress, and Lord willing, I had a job, a flight, a hotel at 5 p.m. Didn't tell my soon-to-be fiance about it, and was in Dallas the next morning for the press conference at 1 o'clock as a new employee of the Dallas Mavericks. I called Coach Chiat from the Hilton Anatole Hotel off 35 Stedman's in Dallas, and I said, Shai, guess what? And he said, what? Can you guess where I'm at? He said, no. He said, you're in, on vacation or something. I said, no, I'm actually in Dallas. I just took the job. And he said, shut the up. No way. So I got a position with Coach Carlisle, and it has been my honor to work for him for the past 16 years. I started as a special assistant to the head coach, and then 13 years later, we transitioned to Indiana and finished our third year in Indiana with the Pacers, and really excited about the group that we have in Indiana and the coaching staff and the people that I've been fortunate enough to be around and learn from. So I'm a product of the people that I've been around: Coach Sir, Coach Larry Chiat, Jamal Mosley, Melvin Hunt, Coach Carlisle, obviously Coach Donovan, obviously, all sorts of incredible teachers of the game and coaches of the game. I hope I can bring you a little bit of information. Here's kind of paint the picture of what I'm going to do here. I'm not sure, is there a clock somewhere, Coach Sir? So I know exactly kind of what we got going on. Here, I'll paint the picture for you. Philosophical things. I never leave a clinic without telling a few quotes. I always like to have quotes, for me going forward. I'll never leave a clinic without giving you a couple. I'll give you some overarching hierarchical, philosophical ideas. We'll do a little big picture stuff. We'll do a little execution, and then hopefully we'll get some pace and space. It's probably what the Pacers are best known for, is our pace, our tempo. Coach Lloyd Pierce, Coach Jenny Busek, Coach Jim Boylan, our whole staff, Gennaro Pargo, do a great job under the tutelage of Coach Carlisle going with those concepts. So we'll do questions at the end, but if something particular comes up, Coach, feel free to ask. Okay, what's your name? Kevin, Mike, good to meet you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Feel free to ask at any point in time, and I will be happy to stop and go from there. The first quote I want to give you is one that I always give, and I believe it's part of why I have the opportunity to grow in this game and be where I'm at. I got a lot more to learn. I got a lot more to go, but I've climbed a little bit of the ladder. I got to keep going. But the first quote I want to give you is "Know your nose." K-N-O-W, your N-O-S. Know your nose. It's probably my favorite quote in terms of, see you, Coach, good job. I was taking notes over there. Appreciate you. Know your nose. There's a few things that are on my no list. One, if it crosses my family. Two, if it crosses my faith. Those two things I'm going to say no to. If somebody asks me to do it, I'm just not going to do it. Obviously, we're going to be away from our families. You got to deal with that in the coaching world. But if it does something to cross my family or my faith, I'm saying no. Outside of those things, the answer is yes, Coach. Can you do this at 3:30 in the morning? Can you get this project done? Can you do that project? Coach, can you stay up and get this scout tape done for 7 a.m. when we make this trade and the next guy comes? Can you have that ready by 7:30? The answer is yes, because it doesn't cross those two things. So just got to figure out how to get it done, however it happens. We have great staffs in the NBA. Obviously, our staffs are bigger than probably most of the coaches and staffs in here, so we get to utilize that and the resources that an NBA organization has. But if it doesn't cross those two things, I'm going to find a way to get it done. Now, I may not always be right. Coach Charles Klask over here probably has better answers than me in some of these strategical things, but I'm going to try and figure out a way to get it done. So that is one quote that I kind of live by and go by. Second thing, success leaves footprints. Okay, so Coach Donovan, Coach Carlisle, all these names I just mentioned, Lloyd Pierce on our staff, success leaves footprints. So when they're walking forward, they're leaving a path, okay? They're leaving a path of success. Coach Carlisle, going to be a Hall of Fame basketball coach in the near future. Coach Donovan, these other guys, success leave footprints. I'm going to continue to walk in their footsteps. Now, one day, do I hope to be beyond or, have some other footsteps of my own? For sure. I'm trying to, burn my own path at some point. But my journey starts with the mentors that I have. The success leaves footprints. So I'm going to follow that success. I'm blessed, honored to be able to win 2 national championships alongside that guy right there at the University of Florida. And obviously a world championship in 2011 with the Mavericks. I've had the opportunity to coach summer league teams, and this game's taken me all around the world. So these are things that success leaves footprints, and I'm going to continue on in those footprints until I can, get beyond some of those, which are some big footsteps to climb through. As I told you, not the most gifted basketball player in the world, 100% admit it. Because of that, I don't have some of those traits. I'm not 6'10". I don't have, I can't shoot it from 45 feet out like some of these guys. I can't do some of the things on the court that some others can do. So what do I bring to the table? Well, Coach told me this a long time ago. You got to be the expert in the room at the task assigned. You're not going to be the expert at everything. You're not going to be the expert at everything you do or every room you're in or whatever's going to. I'm sure there's people a lot smarter than me in here. But I got to be the expert in the room at the task assigned. If the task is the Los Angeles Clippers on Tuesday, I better be the expert in the room on that task, whatever that task is. Okay? So that's something I live by, and if it takes all night to do it, it takes all night to do it. It's just part of the deal. Expert in the room at the task assigned, whatever that may be. That may be, Coach, that may be, the next scout. That may be the offensive game plan for the season. That may be the defensive system you're installing. Whatever it may be the expert in the room at the task assigned. For me, a lot of times in my role with Coach Carlisle, that those are like critical thinking skills in the moment. I like to think I'm decent at that. The situational stuff, like, well, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do there? What's this ruling mean for us? What's this ruling mean for them? Obviously, we're all going to make mistakes, and our mistakes are on the big screen, a lot. So you're going to see them. You got to live with those. But that's one of my roles under Coach Carlisle is to be able to. We all have to critically think, obviously, and we all do a great job of it. But to be able to make those decisions outside of the noise. I'm sure you guys have heard or read about the signal and the noise. You got to be able to understand what the signal is amongst all the noise, all the stuff that's going on. Charles and I were talking earlier today about some analytical things, and there's a lot of noise in analytics. We utilize it a lot, but you got to figure out what the true signal is and what your North Star is in terms of those things. So those are a couple things for me. A couple more things before we get to the basketball-oriented stuff. Get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable speaking in front of people, do it. Do it more. If you're uncomfortable, running a zone defense, maybe you should try it. Okay, it's going to broaden your horizon. It's going to make your brain, there's a lot of research done about that. The more you challenge yourself, the more brain power you're going to have. Get uncomfortable. I'm going to give you an example of getting uncomfortable for me. In the fall of 2019, you got to think timing here. COVID's coming up here after this. The fall of 2019, I got to know Dr. David Bertrand, who's the Sport Performance Leadership Director at SMU, Southern Methodist University in Dallas. I got to know him well, and he asked me to come speak at his class, and I guest spoke, and he asked me something, and I was pretty uncomfortable with it, to be honest, having been in basketball and in the last, what is that at that point, 12 years, whatever it is. He asked me, hey, what do you think about being an adjunct professor for us? And I said, excuse me? You want me to do what? He said, yeah, we have a class called Coaching Team Sports. I said, well, it kind of falls in line. He said, we need an adjunct professor, and I'd like for you to do it. So obviously I went back and talked to my wife about it and prayed about it and came to the conclusion that, yeah, let's do it. And so for the summer of 2020, which obviously we know what was going on in summer of 2020, I was an adjunct professor at the Southern Methodist University. We did it all online because of what was going on. As an adjunct professor of coaching team sports. It was one of the best experiences of the last 10 years for me because I got out of my comfort zone of drawing up ball plays and, worried about what the zone attack is and all those things, and I had to get out of my comfort zone to teach not basketball players, but students, a lot of student athletes, but students in that environment, and how to deliver a message to those students, not just players that, want to run up and down and shoot the ball and do all the things. These guys, this was field hockey players and volleyball players and all the things. So I got uncomfortable for a semester, and I think it really made me grow. as a coach and as an individual. So I challenge each and every one of you. First of all, you guys are doing the right thing by coming here to learn from people way smarter than me, but get uncomfortable in what you're doing. Get something different than what your normal deal is every day. We're all pretty good at our normal A to B. How you doing, Coach? Mike? Blake, good to meet you. We're all good at our normal day-to-day stuff, but can you get uncomfortable and be successful in something uncomfortable? That's something that I would challenge you guys to do. I'll give you two more things, and we'll move to some tactical stuff. One is this. I found this. It was a while ago for that class at SMU. A George Washington University professor, Vizek, said that in reality we're just teachers, right? As coaches, we're just teachers. We're just teaching a very specific subject. We're teaching a very nuanced thing, not just regular old whatever social studies, a massive display of things. We're teaching a very nuanced subject. And he said, people at heart, especially children and learners, want 5 things. These are the 5 things that he researched and he said they want. They want respect and encouragement. I think we can see the translation there. They want a positive role model, which I hope to be for my sons especially, but for other people in the community. Clear and consistent communication. Now that communication could be nonverbal, that could be verbal, that could be just a simple we just communicated. A simple fist bump. Knowledge of the sport or subject. I think it's why you all are here. And the last thing that I thought was the most touching to me, and I shared this with my class in 2020, was that they wanted a good listener. We wanted a good listener. As a coach, we forget that at some point we were the people sitting here looking up. Now we're the coaches here looking down, or if they're 6'10", looking like this. But we must be good listeners as well, because they're going to give us a lot of feedback, whether it's nonverbal, verbal, whether they're yelling at us because we called a timeout because they were on a fast break. They thought our team thought we could get a layup. We called one early. That happens. We got to be good listeners as well, not just giving the information. We like to give a lot of information in the NBA because there's a ton of it. We got to be good listeners as well. And I think Coach Carlisle does a really good job of that. And the last kind of philosophical thing I'll hint on here is who is in front of me. The Belgian Soccer Federation did a big study, and this is, again, going back to that 2020. And their concept was, who is in front of me? You have to tailor your message to who is in front of you. Now, honestly, I don't have a great feel for, I know we got some international, high school all over the place here, so I'm doing my best here to tailor that message as I'm delivering it. But who's in front of me? What's my target audience? The offensive stuff we're going to do with the Pacers, far different than what you're going to do at your local middle school. Okay? Who's in front of me right now? Do we have a veteran group going up against, a veteran group? Or do we have a young group that we have to mold, that we have to kind of get to the shape that we want them to be eventually? Or are we just adding a piece? Who's in front of me? Who's my audience? Who is that at the time? Is it a one-on-one situation here? You're typing really quick. That's really good. Mike. Yeah, good to meet you. Is it one-on-one? Am I in a film session with a player on the side of the court? Or am I presenting a scout to the whole team? Who's in front of me at that moment? Those things are very important because your tone has to change, right? For us, 82 games, start October 1, end hopefully in late June. You can't yell the whole time. It's impossible. Boop, in one ear, out the other. So you got to understand who's in front of you and what's happening in that situation. And again, I keep referencing to Coach Carlisle, obviously my greatest mentor. He does a great job of that. He understands what the issue is at the time, and he's not going to respond to it the same way every time. Could be different. The issue that happened in November could be the same tactical issue in November as it was in February, but he's probably not going to address it the same way. He's going to go about it a different way. And that's a veteran coach that knows what he's doing.